We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Let's start with the reverse engineering. So first question is the what is reverse engineering? A systematic methodology for analyzing the design for extracting information of the existing device or system or process, either an approach to study the design or as a preparation for the redesign. So basically here we want to discuss regarding the redesign. So some systems is already available in the day-to-day life applications, but we have to reform it. So what is reform? Reform is nothing but we have to do another observation, or we can say we can do iteration. So as per NID and we can say the Stanford University design fundamental things, we have to put any object or a prototyping into the particularly we can say in the market. Why the startup is failed? So before putting our startup or our idea or our prototype, we have to test it in the 3 manner. First is the design testing, second one is the experimental testing, and third one is the experimental feedback testing. So these 3 things is the important for the each and every prototyping or any actual model. So what is the redesign? Redesign is the as per feedback what kind of change we need in the existing system, that is the redesign is there. For that purpose we have the different techniques are there. We are already learning in previous lecture Scamper techniques to identify the different rearrangement, we can say modifications, and the elementary approach and all approach are there. So basically this is the main things are there. Let's go ahead. So the process often to involve in disassembly something. So in mechanical system, if I want to say, if you want to understand anything, then you have to dismantle it. Like if I am taking a small example like a ball pen. So if I want to understand the terminology of ball pen, then I have to remove it all component and understand. The first is the main body of the ball pen, second one is the refill portion, fourth one is the back butch or back side cover is there, in front side one nozzle is there. So and the if it is a spring arrangement is there, then the another grooves and each and every component is there. So this assembly is the one of the powerful tool for the reverse engineering purpose. So let's go ahead. So level of analysis in the reverse engineering. So first level is the system wide analysis. So system wide analysis is we can considering the main points as the customer requirements. So this is the when we the customer requirement as a 2 types of customer requirement is the first one is the primary requirement, which is the when the system is not connected with any applications or any prototyping or any useful machines. So and second one customer requirement is the whatever the existing things are there, but some problems are facing by the customers, so we have to modify it as per the customer view. So that is the customer requirement. Engineering requirements. So engineering requirements, for that purpose we already learned the Allen matrix. So some we have to follow the standards, we have to follow the standard arrangements, or we can say standard assembly system, standard working system, some parameters are there. Then fundamental specifications. Fundamental specification is related to the operation, it is related to the maintenance, it is related to the particularly we can say the some contexts are there. Then the predictions on the subsystems and the components. So we have to also considering the some, like if I'm taking a welding rods and welding machines, so we need the consumable welding rods and standards as per currents and all these things. So this is the particularly system wide analysis. Second one, it is a system dissection analysis. This system dissection analysis requires the document dissection, define systems, then determine the subsystems, functionals and the specifications, and determine the subsystems, physical, mathematical and principle. So this is the related to the some theoretical work and the document. Then individual component analysis is required as per the application. It is a repeat decisional steps on the individual component, define component material selection and the fabrication process, and segment at alternative design system components and the material. So this all things are we have to analyze in the with the combination of the all operations, component, materials and related to the design and the some manufacturing standards are there. So this is the level of analysis in reverse engineering. So another involved is the could be the possible if. So we have to focus on the material, technology and process and the application. So these three parameters are the very important for the any component purpose. So another things that we have to take a small case study on the small kitchen scale. So we have the one small kitchen scale is there. Have you observed here? It is a very small small arrangement is there, plastic material is there, and here is the scale is there, two different scale is there. So that is the observation that we have to need. But this is the outer observation is there. We have to observe properly in such a technical manner. Then we have to open it and let this kitchen is a useful to device to measure the our small amount of food that are to be prepared. Now there are many people who need to be careful of the quantity of the food that they taken eat. Okay, so here is some points that we have to consider. The kitchen scale is device that can be a help control the amount of food consumed by an individual. So it cannot give the individual measurement. So if I am, what can I do if I want to prepare some food in which number of ingredients are there? So I am including all ingredients within a one bowl and I am weight of the whole bowl. So this is not give the individually food parameters. So what can we do? We have to check each and every ingredients in at different by one. So we can identify each and every ingredients weight and the quantity and the parameters. So this is the, we can say, operational parameters are there. Then another parameters are related to the manufacturing, or we can say environmental. So if I am considering the environmental related parameters, then in kitchen for the food quality purpose, instead of plastic we have to use the stainless steel material for the upper side weighting purpose, because stainless steel has no germs and we can clean easily, it have the good life. If we are selecting plastic instead of the stainless steel, then it will be a break in the kitchen, or due to the heat it will be a melt, it will defect on the plastic body or a casing. So this kind of arrangement is required. Also it will affect on the calibration of the small kitchen scale. Okay, so another customer perspectives we have to consider. So customer perspectives are the cost, appearance, size. Appearance is important because we know that when we are going for the shopping purpose, so first we have to observe the appearance. We cannot basically focus on the quality, but if we are purchasing something, then we have to focus on the quality. Then the quality for the price, how sturdy the device it, and accuracy of the weighting process. So this is accuracy is important from the customer side. So engineering perspective instead of the customer perspective. So as per engineering perspective, we have to consider this perspectives like material strength, as we discussed the material like SS and the plastic, and mechanisms to be used. So which kind of mechanism is used? If we are applying the incline mechanism, then we cannot find the particularly gravitational force related to the weight, and manufacturing processes are there, because the up to the final customer cost, the manufacturing process is the very important things. So in relation to the kitchen scale, in the driving process of the plant to be a steam adequate, so this some questions are that may be asked to the students, and they have to uh, empathize on it, and they have to give this answer. What mechanism is necessary to give an accurate reading on the scale? So we know that the for scaling purpose we can use digital system also, we can use spring system also, but important is the how it can calibrate that. We have to give the procedure to the customers, so which kind of calibration process we are adopt for the our kitchen scale, our manufacturing purpose, that is also important. Does the kitchen scale have any sharp edges that could be a case of injury? Yes, obviously this is our manufacturability and the or we can say the assembly property that we have to consider. We don't have to provide a sharp shape is in the kitchen, because it will be a effect, it can damage any other material, or it will be a effect on particularly for the users. Okay, so then another is the kitchen scale must be able to accumulate to the 1 pound of the food. So at least this is some parameters related to the standardization, and that we have to learn, that empathize by the student, that then we will discuss. Then some fundamental things are there. So one I will give you one exercise. Think of new innovative applications for a paper you pin. So this is the one small example is there for the ideation purpose. Student can brush up your mind. So think of the new innovative application for the paper u pin. So where it will be go? We know that in our Indian pictures this paper u pin used to open the lock, but we don't want to use this pin for the open the lock. Which other application where we can utilize it? So instead of the, we can say pin on the notice board, instead of that we can use this for the playing the one that game is magnetic sticks are there. At that place we can use it. We can prepare a one small chain from the paper u pin. So this is my idea. You can share your view in my comments, how many paper u pin applications we can utilize it in our day-to-day life. Then another example is our nail cutter. So we can modify it, we can redesign it, we can give any other features. Yes, we can, as I am discussing, if we are putting nail cutter and the tool kit, then we can combine it. We can provide some mechanical tools, screwdrivers, and then different kind of screwdrivers, then other things they can provide into our nail cutter. Nowadays it is available, but what other use we can give the applications for the nail cutter, or we can or we can apply the scampered, we can some neglect something, we can combine something, we can give the some arrangement for the nail cutter and all these things. Okay, so another things that we have to learn, there is a hands-on experience for the stapler purpose also. So we know that what is stapler we are utilized as a stationary component. So which other components we can combine into the stapler? So as I am discussing in the previous slide, so can I combine rule, can I combine rubber, can I combine pin opener, can I combine the one small box in which I can put my rubber bands, my u pins, or my small rubber? So this is the combination of the each and every stationary components. So you can apply, you can give me suggestions for the more stationary item we can fit into our stapler. Okay, so this is the some example, who will be used, what, where, when, why, and how. So any student can be used, any officers can be used, any, we can say it can utilize. So many users are there and so many stakeholders are, but what we are stapling the paper. Okay, but with that another applications it is used, and where and when. So during exam time, during the paperwork time, during the filing time, okay, and why that we already know, but how, for how purpose we can utilize the different another components, or we can say another props, okay, and we are combine it and we can utilize the all this what, where and how to combine at a stationary level. Okay, so this is the reverse engineering related to the small example. If you have any query or you can have doubt, you can contact me. Hello friends, today we have to learn boundary conditions in FEA. So first of all we have to know what is boundary conditions. So this is the boundary condition related to the solving the any complicated example with the simplest method. Okay, so boundary condition, it is the condition what we have to give before solving any kind of analysis problem. So it is a one kind of the input data to solve the complicated problem, but each and every time the problem definition is different. So to identify the problem definition with the simplex method to find out the solution, we are using boundary conditions for easy understanding purpose as well as easy solution purpose. The proper development and solution of the finite element method is influences by the correct application of the boundary conditions. Okay, if you take wrong boundary condition, then your solution may be the wrong. The governing difference equation for the vertical deflection would be the EI d raised to 4y by dx raised to 4 is equal to W. So here observe that in this particularly cantilever beam, so x0 and y is 0 means they are giving a degree of freedom, and if we are deflect from its original position, then slope will be dy by dx is equal to 0. We learn already in the first session, and here the length is L, and we are taking an intermediate, we have to find out the intermediate displacement. So here as per the element, this is the node number 1 and node number 2, but if we have to find out the intermediate deflection of the any beam, then we are using the shape function formulation. So for shape function we take one x distance, one point at particularly x distance, and at that place if you want to find out, then here is x is we can say 0 or some value is there, but y is deflected is there. So for that purpose we are differentiation, we are using differential equation for it. So if we are taking a force or a natural boundary conditions, then shear force will be the another differential is there, EI d raised to cube dq y by dx raised to cube is equal to 0, and bending moment EI is equal to d square y by dx square is equal to 0. So this is the particularly some simplex problem. Okay, so now second one is the geometric, essential and rigid boundary condition. So what do you mean by the geometric, essential and rigid boundary conditions? So geometric is related to the whatever design is there, if there is a cross sections areas are different. Then essential or a rigid boundary condition means rigid boundary condition whenever the solid materials are there, we can say any material, any component which can prepare by the solid modeling concept, then we can utilize these boundary conditions. Okay, so displacement y is 0 and dy by dx is 0. So you can observe here it may be happen, it will be a deflection in the x and y both direction, but here load condition is different. So it is a UDL load conditions are there, one roller support is there. When we are taking a roller support, then the x and y will be in the any direction is there. So in some cases such that the direction of boundary conditions are not parallel to the coordinate axis, means in some cases the boundary conditions are not parallel to coordinate axis, means there is some roller support or any other kind of pulling supports are there. So at that time it will be on not on a axial direction. Such boundary conditions are called a skew boundary conditions. It is called a skew boundary condition. It will be written here. You can observe here skew boundary condition. So let's see. So one example is there. If I have one turbine blade is there, Okay, and if I want to analyze it, then first it is a physical problem, but I have to simplify it into the simple problem. Then I am applying boundary condition is here. This is simplified problem. What can I do? So internal pressure, I am putting internal pressure. So outer side same blades are there, it is divided in equal parts. So what can I do? I am providing the roller support, and just I am find out the particularly force, or I can say pressure, or anything, whatever the degree of freedom is that we are applying onto the blade. So instead of we have to find out the whole system analysis, we just analyze one component. It is called a simplified problem, and then I multiply it, so I will get the final result. And this is the accurate method. This is the particularly we can say FEA method, finite element method. We can divide and rule the using the principle of dividing and rule. Okay, so as you observe here, it should be a noted that boundary conditions shows the rolling the inkling that the edge is free to move in the one direction. So you can observe here, so this is a displacement not allowed. It means roller will be this direction, then displacement is not allowed, and in this direction it will be there. Means the whatever the roller conditions is there, that we have to learn properly as a roller support. So now another thing is the rectangular plate with have the center hole and subjected to a tensile force. So when we such kind of geometry is there, so at that time we are taking a 1/4 part of it. So when we are converted this 1/4 part into this, so you can observe here, here we am applying the roller support, here I am applying the roller support. So at that time just we have to find out this simplified problem. Okay, so this simplified plate is there to identify whole system. So here is the hole is there, otherwise what we can do, we have to find out for the whole plate, then minus the circular portion. It is a little bit complicated portion is there in the FE analysis, that's why this is the simplified form is there. So another is the hollow cylinder subjected to a internal pressure. So this is the particularly used for the sap. This is particularly used for a hollow pipe which is passing in which we are passing the steam, gas or anything. So that at that place internal pressure will be there. So hollow cylinder under the internal pressure. So here you can observe the internal pressure will be there. So this is the first internal radius Ri and R0, internal and outer radius is there. So at that time we have to simplify this model such like this. So when we are taking a such kind of single side one part a strip is there, so you can consider as a one simply supported beam, yes or no. So when we solve the one simply supported beam, this is easy to solve. So here we can take in as fixed supports, this internal pressures are there which can give the which can applying pressure on the it, and we can easily find out the final reaction. That reaction we can, what we are doing, we are applying whole reaction onto the by using a multiplication in the circumferential manner. Okay, so let's go ahead. So another is the hollow cylinder consider as an external pressure. So first case is the internal pressure, and second case will be the external pressure. So when the external pressure will be there, so road roller, that is the external pressure is there. Okay, or we can say if we are holding any cylinder from the outer side, at that time external pressure will be the there. Okay, or a we can say any pipe into the particularly water tank. Okay, so it will be considered as an external pressure. So have you observed here, same internal and outer radius are there, it will be simplified like this. So pressure will be upper side, so this is the our main axis is there. So when we are find out the moment at each and every time, so it will consider from one side, because we know that the moment is equal to force into distance. That principle we have to learn already in MOS. Okay, so that will be applied here. So if we are taking a beveling spring, or we can say helical spring type, or we can say bearing, or we can say any shock absorbing device, then we can simplify it such like this. This is the one simple strip beam. We are applying force from upper side, and it will be in the Z or R direction. So here roller will be moved in this direction, here in this direction. So this is the particularly boundary conditions that we have to learn. Okay, sorry. So this is the boundary conditions are there. Okay, Then another boundary conditions that we have to learn: sleeves and sunk fitted on an insulated rigid cylinder, and with the temperature of the sleeves increase. So when the heat treatment or a heat transfer related problems are there, at that time we have to modulate with the particularly things we have to include is here you can observe the insulated rigid cylinder is there. It is outside side. Inner side some standard temperature related cylinder is there. So what happened, whatever the external forces are there, that we have to provide here also. So this is the simple case of the particularly you can say external pressure of the cylinder on the cylinder. Okay, so that is the external pressure, and side pressure is there due to the we can say constraints is there. Okay, so another is the boundary condition. You can show the pressure related. This is the same as the previous session. And this is the another is the elastic sleeve with the elastic shaft. So material is different, condition is same. So another things what we have to discuss is most important. It is not under the boundary condition. This is a new topic. This is a plane stress and plane strain. So when we are taking a plane stress and plane strain, so this concept we are utilized to identify von Mises stress and deflection purpose, as well as the we can say example which is related with the any system. So what is the plane stress? So have you observed here we have the one ununique shape boundary is there. The external pressure or force is applied on it. At that time it will be varied on its thickness of the boundary. It will not depend on the surface of the particularly plane, because here the name is plane stress. So we can not considering this plane, we can considering the we are applying external forces on the plane. So at that time the direction of this is called, we know that this is a 2D diagram. X and Y direction means we can say that this is the front view and this is the side view. So here the Z direction will be there. So always stress will be in Z direction. Stress Z is equal to 0. So in the Z direction of any kind of stress will be 0. We can say that twisting moment in YZ is equal to 0 and twisting moment is T xz is equal to 0. Let's start similar plane strain problem. So here the strain is there because it is particularly varied on the whole boundary. So if we are taking an example of dam, so whole reservoir water will be force or a pressure. We cannot say force, it is a pressure on the particularly dam this side wall. So during at that time we can consider, as well as roller. So we can say that the one roller is there and a whole force and pressure will be particularly occur on the surface. So at that time particularly strain is equal to 0 in Z direction, gamma yz is equal to 0 and gamma xz is equal to 0. So this is the one concept is that we have to learn that. So if you have any question regarding the boundary conditions and plane stress, plane strain, then kindly contact me. Best of luck. Good morning everyone. So today we have to learn finite element analysis. One of the important part is the types of meshing and what is meshing is there. So we will start it. So today our presentation outline is why the grid is needed, element types, grid types, grid design and guideline, geometry, solution adaptation and grid importance. Let's see, first question arises in our mind, why is a grid needed, and the important is what is grid. So we already learned something regarding grid in the previous chapter. So designate the cell of the elements which the flow is solved, and second one is the describe the representation of the geometry of the problem that we already learned in the types of common representation technique in the solid modeling, and has cell grouped into the boundary zone. So boundary zone is nothing but it is a boundary condition which is represented by the boundary representation technique BREP. Now another thing is we have to learn that the grid has a significant importance on the rate of the conversions. Rate of the conversion is nothing but it is the one of the solving the algorithms by easy method. So solution accuracy and the CPU time required. CPU time required depend on the CPU configuration. We can say if you want to convert any geometry in the meshing geometry, then we need a higher RAM and the solver. So for industrial purpose we are using the solver for the assembly and for all this purpose. Okay, so now the next is the how to create the geometry. The starting point of the all problem is the geometry. We know that it is the first step to create the geometry. So basically for meshing purpose we are describing two types of geometry, which is concerned with the volume, phase, edge and the vertices. So we know that the one standard simple geometry that we already learned in the CREP, constructed solid geometry, and the another is the complex geometry. Complex geometry means a hybrid geometry of the combination of the boundary representation technique, or we can say the constructive type solid geometry. So here observe that one cube is there, that is a very simple geometry is there, which is easy to prepare in the any solid modeling software. But if you want to prepare a complex geometry in any software, then it is a we need to so many operations, we need to so many iteration is required to generate a mesh. So that's why geometry is the very important for the meshing purpose. Next, second one is the which concept we are using for the geometric purpose. So it is the top down and the bottom down approach. We already learned this approach in the form of the constructive geometry tree and the one of the wireframe modeling representation. Okay, so for the local operation purpose, if we are putting the direct cylindrical bricks or a spheres, then we create one of the top down approach which is used for the assembly purpose. But when the geometry is very typical, or we can say the hybrid, at that time we can use the edge, phase, volumetric, that is come under the bottom up approach, and the any geometry can be created using the same pre-processing software that is used for the create the grid and create the using the other programs. Okay, so for the basic needs purpose, geometry creation purpose, we have to know this concept, top down concept and bottom up concept. So next one is the types of cell shapes. Types of cell shapes is nothing but we already learned in a yesterday session. It is the types of the elements 1D, 2D and 3D. For meshing purpose mostly we are preferring the 2D and 3D mesh purpose. So let's see. Another is the terminology. This terminology is very important for the mesh generation purpose in any CAD software for analysis purpose. So first one is the cell. So have you shown in the diagram, in the 2D this is the cell, and in the 3D this is the one cube is considered as a one cell. So control the volume into which domain is broke up. And node, we know that this is node, which is the vertices and point, it is considered any point it is considered as a node. Cell center is considered as a, this is the one point which is we can say control point. When we are taking any BREP or any surface, at that time this cell control point which is very useful to generate a different geometric shape. Then the edge, we very well know that what is the edge. It is a connection of the two nodes which is considered as a edge. Then the face considered here, we can show that, 1 minute, this is the face. Okay, one particularly surface is considered as a face. And then the zone is also an important part. It is a grouping of the nodes, face and the cells. Means if I am taking a one cheese cube and if I am put it into the small species, then it is considered as a one zone. And it is very important when we are doing the combination of the different hybrid geometry. Means we can say the constructed type solid geometry assembly. Then the domain, group of the nodes, faces and the cell zone is considered as a domain. So this is the important terms that we have to know as a design engineer. So now it is the main question asked in the Gujarat Technological University examination in the CAT paper, types of massing, or we can say types of grid. So first of all, it's starting with the structured grid. So when the structured grid is important, structured grid is mostly important for the, we can say, the surface purpose, as well as the, we can say, the any geometric outer body representation or a inner skeleton structure. So physical domains are there and the computational domains are there. You can observe here the single block structure grid, and the IJK is the nothing but IJK is the three different side indexing to locate the neighboring cell. So it is indicate the neighboring cell. Okay, grid line must be passed along through the domain. It must be passed from the domain is a very important things are there. So we can say that if we want to present a one wall and inside structure, skeleton structure, means we want to present our centering structure of the steel, then we can present like this. This is a one kind of a skeleton structure of the any wall, or we can say any body. Second thing is the face massing structural grid. We can here you can observe in single block geometry and always a logical representation. So this is the difference between the differential types of the hexahedron grids in a particularly structural grid. So single block massing may be including a 180 degree of the constants. So it is a particularly difference with the con type, or we can say curvature type geometry and the plane geometry. So now next one is the multi blocks. So we already learned this multi blocks in the cellular type presentation of the solid constructive type geometry. So multi-block structure grid is used in IJK indexing within each mass block. So you can observe here in diagram. So here one hole is there, and this is the simple geometry is there. So here they can divide easily, but when the such kind of arrangement is there, so we can divide in the 4 1 2 3 4, which is indicated with the 4 colors. So we are divided 4 side with the 4 different massing type. So here is the multi-block arrangement is there. So we can observe the first, this is we can observe here, this is the multi-blocks and this is multi-blocks. So that's why it is considered as a multi-block geometry. Now second one is the face massing with the multi-blocks. So here again we can take both the multi-block geometry in logical representation technique and the curvature part. So you can observe that the difference between the both the geometry are, you can easily identify it. Next one is the grid type is a unstructured. When the unstructured is used, when the complex or a hybrid geometry is there, at that time we are selecting a unstructured. So you can observe in diagram one dinosaur's structure is there, but each and every place the arrangement of the mass is different. So in this area big massing is there, in this area small massing is there. So as per geometry we can change the size of the particularly massing. So this is the unstructured, means when the complex part, or we can say non-parametric part is there, geometry is there, at that time we can consider the unstructured geometry. So this some memory and CPU overhead to be the unstructured references. Okay, so this is the unstructured grid, you can observe here easily. Now the second part is called examples. This is the important for the unstructured purpose. So first one is the map, second one is the submap, third one is the tree primitive, and fourth one is the pave and the tree pave. So what is this? This is actually a particularly cellular type. Sorry, not cellular type, but this is the particularly divided into the ununiqueness is there. So when the hybrid part is there, ununique geometry is there, at that time we are using all 4 codes for the different application purpose. Okay, now the last one is the hybrid. Hybrid is a very important things, because hybrid is multi functionality is there, multi-purpose is there. So triangular and quadrilateral in the 2D, and the tetrahedron prisms and the pyramid in the 3D. You can observe here the one diagram is there. Here prism layer is efficiently resolved by the boundary layer condition. Here the tetrahedron volume, and here is a different tetrahedron with the different mesh. So here, here and here, all three meshing are different. It is a non-conformal interface. You can observe the one silencer type is there. So when the stress concentration area is there, the meshing type is very small, then big, then different another things are there. So this is the hybrid meshing. So you can observe the one car front engine area is there, and this is the complex geometry is there. So each and every geometry have the different meshing structure, because each and every component have the small or a big geometric representation techniques are there. That's why we are complex it. So this is the most important part of this. And second one is the zonal hybrid mesh. Zonal hybrid mesh is also important. Here we are using a, you can observe here in zonal, this is the one part is there, this is the second part is there. It is connected with the pipe, and when it is connected with the pipe, we are just consider the surface meshing. So here mesh size is very big, then small, again small, different part, then again the regular meshing is there. So this is the particularly we can sense the zonal wise. So here we can say this is the one zone, second zone, third zone, fourth zone and fifth zone. So this is the zone wise hybrid meshing is there. And up to end non-conformal meshing we can observe here when the stress concentration part is there, when one flange is connected with the second flange, or we can say in the piping industry, when the stress concentration part is there, at that time we can consider this kind of meshing. So mesh generation process, it will be important for us to create and read or a boundary meshing. Second step is check quality of the boundary mesh. Third one is the improve and repair boundary mesh. Fourth one is the generate volume mesh. Fifth one is the perform further refinements if required. Sixth one is the impact quality of the volume mesh and remove the sleeves and degreement cells and save the volume mesh. So here you can observe that one hybrid geometry is there. We can divide it into the different meshing purpose with our different steps are there. So this processing steps is very important when we are learn the any software meshing. So this is the one theoretical part of the types of meshing. In next lecture we observe the different type of meshing in our ANSYS Workbench software by using a video conference. Thank you. If you have any questions or any doubt, you can ask me in comments, WhatsApp, or you can email me. Thank you.